Before the world knew its name for tragedy, before the ground opened up and the smoke began to rise, Centralia, Pennsylvania was a portrait of small-town America. A place seemingly untouched by the turmoil of the larger world, a haven of quiet streets and close-knit families. It was a town steeped in history, a history intertwined with the black veins of coal that ran deep beneath its surface. Centralia was just another small town nestled in Pennsylvania's rugged coal country. From above, it appeared as a cluster of homes and businesses, a testament to the industry that defined its existence. The surrounding landscape, scarred yet beautiful, hinted at the riches and the risks that lay beneath. Houses, sturdy and familiar, lined the streets, each one a home filled with stories and memories. These weren't just buildings, they were the cornerstones of a community, the places where families gathered and lives unfolded. The architecture was simple, practical, reflecting the no-nonsense attitude of the people who called Centralia home. Neighbors chatted on porches, sharing news, offering advice, and simply enjoying each other's company. These weren't fleeting encounters. They were the threads that wove the fabric of the community, creating a sense of belonging and mutual support. The porches were extensions of the homes, spaces where the private and public lives intertwined, and children played stickball until dusk, their laughter echoing through the streets, a soundtrack to small-town life. The games were more than just recreation, they were rituals, rites of passage, teaching teamwork, resilience, and the simple joy of being a kid. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows, the games would end, and the children would return home, their energy spent, their hearts full. Life revolved around the mines, the heart of Centralia's economy, and the lifeblood of its people. The mines provided jobs, fueled homes, and shaped the very identity of the town. They were both a blessing and a burden, offering prosperity, but demanding a heavy toll. Men emerging from shifts, weary but resolute, their faces etched with the marks of hard labor. They were the backbone of the community, the providers, the protectors, the men who braved the darkness to bring light and warmth to their families. Faces blackened by the coal that fueled their lives, a badge of honor, a symbol of their dedication and sacrifice. The coal dust was more than just dirt, it was a part of them, ingrained in their skin, a constant reminder of the work they did and the risks they faced. Sundays meant church bells and community gatherings, a time for reflection, for fellowship, and for reaffirming the values that bound them together. The church was more than just a place of worship, it was a social hub, a center of community life where people came together to celebrate, to mourn, and to support each other. A town where everyone knew each other, where secrets were hard to keep, and where a helping hand was always within reach. It was a place where you could walk down the street and be greeted by name, where you felt a sense of belonging, a sense of being part of something larger than yourself. Centralia was built on hard work, on the sweat and toil of generations who had carved a life out of the rugged landscape. It was a town where people understood the value of a hard day's labor, where they took pride in their work, and where they were willing to do whatever it took to provide for their families. Faith, a guiding force in their lives, a source of strength and hope in the face of adversity. Their faith sustained them through difficult times, providing them with a sense of purpose and a belief in a better future. And the coal seams beneath its feet, the foundation of their economy, the source of their prosperity, and unknowingly the seeds of their destruction. These hidden veins of energy were both a blessing and a curse, providing them with a livelihood but also threatening to consume them all. The town weathered the ups and downs of the mining industry, the booms and busts that shaped its history. They had seen good times and bad, but they had always managed to persevere, to adapt, and to rebuild. But its people were resilient and proud, fiercely loyal to their town and to each other. They were a community of survivors, bound together by their shared history, their common values, and their unwavering spirit. It was a place where doors were left unlocked, a testament to the trust and security that permeated the community. People felt safe in their homes, knowing that their neighbors were looking out for them. And help was always nearby, a neighbor willing to lend a hand, a friend offering support, a community ready to rally together in times of need. This spirit of generosity and compassion was the glue that held Centralia together. The landscape bore the marks of mining, calm banks and man-made hills, a constant reminder of the industry that defined their lives. These scars on the earth were a testament to the price they paid for their prosperity, but was surrounded by forests and green valleys, a natural beauty that offered solace and respite from the harsh realities of mining life. The contrast between the scarred landscape and the lush greenery was a reminder of the resilience of nature and the enduring power of hope. For its residents, Centralia was simply home, a place of comfort, familiarity, and belonging. It was where they had built their lives, raised their families, and created memories that would last a lifetime. Unaware of the disaster smoldering below, the silent, unseen threat that would soon engulf their world in flames. The fire was a hidden enemy lurking beneath their feet, slowly but surely consuming the very ground they stood on. The very ground that sustained them held a secret, a deadly secret that would shatter their lives and forever change the fate of Centralia. The earth, once a source of life and prosperity, was now a harbinger of destruction that would one day tear their world apart, leaving behind an empty shell of what once was a ghost town haunted by the memories of a vibrant community. The fire would not only consume the coal beneath their feet, but also the spirit of Centralia, leaving behind a legacy of loss and displacement. Centralia, Pennsylvania. A seemingly ordinary town nestled in the heart of coal country, but beneath the surface, a slow-burning disaster was about to unfold, a tragedy sparked by a series of unfortunate events. Centralia's downfall began with a seemingly routine decision in May 1962. A decision that, at the time, appeared to be a simple act of civic responsibility. The town council decided to clean up the town landfill before Memorial Day, a common practice in many small towns across America. It was a way to tidy up the community and prepare for the upcoming holiday celebrations. 5 volunteer firefighters, local heroes dedicated to protecting their community, were tasked with setting the trash ablaze, a common practice for reducing the volume of waste in landfills at the time. It was considered a safe and efficient method. They carefully monitored the flames and doused the flames with water when they thought the job was done, ensuring that the fire was completely extinguished, or so they believed. But deep inside the landfill, hidden from view, embers smoldered unseen, waiting for an opportunity to reignite, a silent, insidious threat lurking beneath the surface. The smoldering embers found an exposed vein of anthracite coal, a remnant of the town's rich mining history. This vein was located in the abandoned mining pit, a vast network of tunnels and shafts that lay beneath the town. The fire, fueled by the coal, slipped underground, igniting a labyrinth of coal tunnels beneath the town, a sprawling network of passages that had been carved out over decades of mining. Anthracite is hard to ignite, requiring intense heat and sustained exposure, but once burning it is nearly impossible to extinguish, burning hotter and longer than other types of coal. The fire crept silently through the mines, spreading slowly but relentlessly, unnoticed for weeks, as the residents of Centralia went about their daily lives, completely unaware of the danger that was brewing beneath their feet. Early attempts to dig out or smother the fire failed, hampered by the lack of understanding of the fire's extent and the complex network of tunnels. The tunnels were too vast, stretching for miles in every direction, and the fire too deep, making it difficult to access and control. Water and crushed rock, the traditional tools for fighting fires, simply couldn't reach the heart of the blaze, which was burning deep within the coal seams. Each failed effort only served to let the fire spread further, fueled by the abundant coal and the lack of oxygen in the underground tunnels. Turning a small mistake, a seemingly insignificant decision, into a permanent disaster, a catastrophe that would forever alter the fate of Centralia. The town carried on with its residents going about their daily routines, attending church, working in the local businesses, and raising their families. Unaware that a catastrophe was silently taking root below, slowly consuming the very ground upon which their homes and businesses stood. Centralia's fate was sealed, the clock was ticking, and the town was unknowingly heading towards a point of no return. It was all set in motion by a spark and a hidden seam of coal, a combination that would ultimately lead to the town's demise. In the months after the fire, the landscape of Centralia began to bear the marks of an unseen assailant. The immediate devastation of the blaze had subsided, but in its wake, an insidious transformation was taking place, slowly, relentlessly, altering the very fabric of daily existence. Subtle changes crept into daily life like unwelcome guests arriving unannounced. The familiar rhythms of the town started to falter, replaced by an unsettling undercurrent of unease. It was as if the earth itself was shifting, groaning under the weight of a secret it could no longer contain. A strange, sweet smell, burning garbage or sulfur, began to permeate the air, an acrid reminder of the inferno raging beneath their feet. It was a smell that clung to clothes, invaded homes, and lingered in the back of the throat, a constant, nagging presence. It hung in the air, a persistent haze that blurred the once clear horizon and cast a pall over the town. The sky itself seemed to weep with the fumes of the underground fire. Wisps of smoke rose from cracks in yards and storm drains, like ghostly apparitions escaping their subterranean prison. These were not the playful tendrils of a campfire but ominous plumes, harbingers of a deeper, more sinister threat. Basements grew warm, the earth's fever was rising, and the residents felt it in the foundations of their homes. Produce cooked in storage bins, a testament to the escalating temperatures below. Root cellars, once havens of cool preservation, became ovens, rendering harvests inedible. Snow melted in odd circles, bizarre patterns etched onto the winter landscape, as if the earth was breathing fire. Patches of vibrant green grass emerged, defying the season, a false promise of spring amidst the chilling reality of winter. The fire released invisible gases, silent assassins creeping through the earth. Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, deadly byproducts of the relentless combustion, began their insidious infiltration. Seeping into homes, these odorless, colorless vapors turned sanctuaries into silent traps. Residents suffered headaches and fatigue. Their bodies were the first line of defense against an enemy they couldn't see. Pet birds, once vibrant companions, died from the poisoned air, their tiny bodies serving as grim warnings. The danger was silent, invisible, and growing, a malevolent presence lurking just beneath the surface. Miners knew the ground's quirks, the subtle shifts and groans that spoke of its hidden depths. But this was different, a primal unease that resonated deep within their bones. It was a monster awakened below, a fiery beast stirring from its age-old slumber. The early signs were easy to dismiss, to explain away as mere anomalies, tricks of the light, or figments of the imagination. But the whispers from beneath were growing louder, more insistent, impossible to ignore. Centralia was on the brink of a nightmare it could no longer ignore, a slow-motion disaster unfolding beneath their very feet. By the 1970s, the fire's effects were impossible to ignore. Lawns withered, trees died, and patches of earth turned barren. Roads buckled and cracked. Route 61 split open with a steaming fissure, forcing its closure. Poisonous gases vented from new fissures, making some areas deadly to walk through. Ground temperatures soared, hot enough to ignite paper or burn skin. Residents faced constant danger, unstable ground, toxic air, and unpredictable sinkholes. The fire was no longer hidden, it was destroying the town piece by piece. Life became a daily negotiation with an invisible enemy. The Earth's fever had broken and Centralia was losing the fight. The slow disaster was accelerating, pushing the town toward collapse. On Valentine's Day, 1981, Centralia's nightmare became national news. 12-year-old Todd Domboski fell into a steaming sinkhole in his grandmother's yard. The hole was 150 feet deep, venting toxic gas and heat. Todd's cousin pulled him out just in time. The temperature inside was 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The incident shattered any illusion of safety. Nowhere in Centralia was safe. The story made headlines, showing the world the true danger beneath the town. Sinkholes could open anywhere, at any time. The ground itself had become a predator. For Centralia's people, the question was no longer if they should leave, but how. The invisible enemy had shown its face, and the town's fate was sealed. Centralia's crisis could no longer be ignored. After the Domboski incident, life in Centralia became a daily battle. Carbon monoxide detectors and gas masks became household essentials. Homes warped and cracked, basements filled with toxic heat. Every creak or strange smell was a warning sign. The community began to fracture, some wanted to stay, others to flee. The fire corroded not just buildings but relationships and trust. Arguments over what to do tore families and friendships apart. The fire was relentless, unbeatable, and always advancing. Centralia's people lived on the edge of a man-made volcano, powerless to stop it. Their lives were dictated by the whims of the inferno below. The government finally intervened after years of failed efforts and mounting danger. In 1983, Congress funded a voluntary relocation program, offering residents a way out. For many, it was a lifeline. For others, an attack on their heritage. Some refused to leave, clinging to family history and identity. The buyout divided the town. Neighbors became adversaries, families split. The process was slow and painful, with empty homes and demolished streets. The state used eminent domain to condemn remaining properties, sparking legal battles. The The government was caught between protecting lives and respecting the wishes of those who stayed. Centralia became a battleground of loss, memory, and survival. By the 1990s, Centralia was a ghost town. Demolition crews erased homes, schools, and businesses, leaving empty lots and overgrown streets. Street signs vanished. The town's identity was wiped away. In 1992, the state condemned all remaining properties. In 2002, Centralia's zip code was discontinued. A handful of residents watched as their world disappeared around them. The landscape became a prairie of memories, with only a few isolated homes left. Centralia's population dwindled to almost nothing, a town in name only. The fire had destroyed not just buildings, but the very idea of community. The solution was not to stop the fire, but to erase the town above it. Today, Centralia is a scarred landscape and a cautionary tale. The graffiti highway, once Route 61, is a colorful memorial to a lost town. Steam and smoke still rise from fissures, warning signs mark the dangers. The fire, started in 1962, still burns and may continue for centuries. A few residents remain, caretakers of a vanished community. Centralia's story is a lesson in how a small mistake can spark a centuries-long disaster. It's a reminder of the hidden dangers beneath our feet and the cost of industrial legacy. Centralia endures as a smoldering monument to a tragedy that will outlast us all.